The skies are bringing together two of the most benefic planets, Venus and Jupiter, in the sign of Gemini from July 26 to August 21, 2025. This rare and beautiful union occurs in one of the most dynamic signs of the zodiac and promises a surge of energy in areas like communication, creativity, intellectual curiosity, love, learning, and expansion of desires. While both Venus and Jupiter are known for their beneficence, their conjunction can lead to a complex interplay of material desires and philosophical introspection, especially as they meet in Mercury-ruled Gemini, a sign all about information, adaptability, and mental agility. It's important to highlight that these interpretations are based on Sidereal or Vedic Astrology, which considers a roughly 24-degree variance from the tropical zodiac. Gemini, the third sign of the zodiac, symbolizes communication, business, marketing, and curiosity. It is an air sign, quick, intelligent, and open to multiple viewpoints. Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, is a planet of logic and wit. With Venus entering this sign on July 26 in conjunct Jupiter, who is already transiting here, the astrological climate becomes charged with a blend of sensuality, expansion, and intellectual excitement. Venus in Gemini alone heightens charm, flirtation, the desire to learn, and the urge to beautify speech and ideas. But with Jupiter, it elevates the themes of pleasure and aesthetics to broader and more philosophical levels, sparking ideas that can lead to profound understanding or indulgent distractions, depending on how this energy is channeled. This conjunction is not just about love and romance, though that too is highlighted, but it is deeply about what we value and how we wish to grow. Venus represents our relationships, comforts, pleasures, money, creativity, and artistic sense, while Jupiter represents knowledge, growth, truth, morality, spirituality, and higher learning. Together, these two planets emphasize a time when desires and values can grow exponentially. It also brings into question the tug-of-war between indulgence and wisdom, between choosing fleeting pleasures and seeking long-term meaning. Venus leans toward fulfilling desires and enjoying life's pleasures, while Jupiter leans toward dharma, expansion of the soul, and spiritual purpose. Their coming together in one sign always carries an undertone of inner conflict. In Gemini, this conflict is often intellectualized, debated, and even dramatized in our everyday conversations and decisions. Mercury, the lord of Gemini, is retrograding in Cancer and will turn direct on August 11th. This retrograde brings a strong emotional filter to how we process and express thoughts and decisions. While the Venus-Jupiter conjunction encourages intellectual and sensual expression, Mercury retrograde may cause internal confusion or second-guessing, particularly in matters of love, finance, or beliefs. The retrograde could bring back past relationships, unresolved financial matters, or old dreams, asking us to rethink what we truly value. Saturn is retrograding in Pisces, forming a square-like tension to Gemini. Saturn in Pisces is testing our faith, responsibility, and commitment to emotional and spiritual truth. When Venus and Jupiter amplify desires in Gemini, Saturn in Pisces may challenge the sustainability or realism of those desires. Let's also not forget that Rahu is transiting Aquarius, and Ketu is in Leo, with Mars moving from Leo into Virgo on July 28th. This backdrop adds a layer of karmic rewiring and precision-oriented action to the entire sky. Rahu in Aquarius supports innovation and social causes, encouraging us to pursue new technologies and ideals. Venus and Jupiter in Gemini can amplify those efforts through attractive communication and the spread of ideas. Ketu in Leo demands humility and expression, while Mars in Virgo brings focused action. Altogether, this period becomes a heady mix of desire, duty, ideology, and refinement. In terms of what to expect globally or collectively, this Venus-Jupiter conjunction may bring a cultural, artistic, and social upliftment, new artistic trends, viral content, powerful public speeches, inspiring educational initiatives, or luxury marketing booms. We may see a surge in literature, film, online media, and business ventures that blend beauty with intelligence. It's a golden time for creative entrepreneurs, influencers, marketers, educators, artists, and counselors. Financial markets may show a tendency toward indulgent spending or speculation, especially in luxury or beauty-related sectors. But the caution here lies in overindulgence and misplaced optimism. Both Venus and Jupiter in Gemini can get carried away with possibilities and promises. There may be a tendency to speak too much, promise too much, or spend too much without thinking through long-term consequences. Words will matter greatly during this time, and discernment is key. Think before you speak, commit, or invest, especially in relationships and financial matters. Ultimately, this conjunction is a divine invitation to harmonize wisdom with pleasure, intellect with emotion, and communication with creativity. It asks us to engage in the things we love, express our truth beautifully, and find joy in learning and sharing knowledge. It's a time to revisit what we value in our relationships, finances, learning paths, and even spiritual beliefs, but all through the Gemini lens of flexibility, curiosity, and duality. Venus represents love and activities that bring joy. As Venus transits through different houses for approximately 25 days, it signifies an increased inclination towards activities associated with that specific house. The final outcomes may vary based on the dignity of Venus in the birth chart, but the common thread is an affinity towards engagements related to the house Venus is currently transiting. Venus primarily influences the Moon and Mercury and is relatively susceptible to the influence of malefic planets such as the Sun, Mars, Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu. To accurately assess the impact of these transits, it is crucial to consider your ascendant and moon signs. The ascendant sign offers insights into the timing of life events, while the moon sign reveals how you will emotionally respond to these changes. Take into account the position of your current Maha-Dasha lord in your birth chart, as it can shed light on how these transits will influence the recurring themes of your current Dasha period. This transit may manifest differently for each individual, and how they navigate this transit will depend on their personal charts. A more precise understanding of the impact of this transit can be gained by examining both Venus and Jupiter's Ashtaka Varga score in Gemini. Keep in mind that the effects of this transit are contingent on Venus's interaction with the planets in individual birth charts. It's also worth noting that individuals currently experiencing the influence of Venus or Jupiter Dasha may feel the effects of this transit more intensely. To understand how this transit may affect you based on your zodiac sign and the houses it transits, let's delve into those specifics. For Aries, the upcoming Venus-Jupiter conjunction in the third house is a highly influential alignment, deeply connected to your communication, personal courage, creative self-expression, siblings, short travels, and mental initiative. With Venus, ruler of the 2nd and 7th houses, and Jupiter, ruler of the 9th and 12th houses, converging in this domain, the themes of wealth, relationships, higher wisdom, luck, and subconscious expansion blend into your everyday thinking, articulation, and interpersonal dynamics. This transit brings a rich combination of charm, philosophy, diplomacy, and enthusiasm into your immediate reality and short-term endeavors. The third house is a Kama Trikona, house of desire and initiative, and its activation by two benefic planets introduces a wave of positivity in your day-to-day interactions. You're likely to express yourself more graciously and convincingly now. With Venus involved, your communication becomes more artful and magnetic. You might find yourself more inspired to write, speak, or connect with others in a heartfelt or creative way. Since Venus also governs your 7th house of relationships, this can enhance conversations with your partner or bring important discussions that heal, unite, or rekindle love. There's a softness in your approach now, even if you've previously struggled with direct or aggressive communication. From Jupiter's perspective, as the ruler of the 9th house of Dharma and long-term blessings, its placement in the 3rd injects optimism and belief into your self-expression. You may be motivated to share wisdom or philosophical insights through writing, blogging, public speaking, or social media. This is a strong time for students, teachers, and content creators, particularly those in spiritual, motivational, or artistic fields. Jupiter also rules your 12th house, indicating that the inspiration flowing through your mind now may have roots in the subconscious, dreams, or divine intuition. The 3rd house also signifies siblings, cousins, neighbors, and close community members. This conjunction may bring harmony or growth in your relationships with them. Reunions, meaningful conversations, or emotional healing can occur. If there were unresolved issues or miscommunications, this is an opportune time to mend fences with those individuals. Venus's influence smoothens any rough edges, while Jupiter brings forgiveness and perspective. If you have younger siblings, they might receive good news or go through their own expansion phase, which positively affects you as well. Financially, this transit may open new sources of income through networking, skills, and communication-based pursuits. Since Venus rules the 2nd house of money and Jupiter governs fortune and foreign opportunities, via the 9th and 12th, ventures that involve speaking, marketing, trading, consulting, or digital platforms can flourish. You may be inspired to launch a project, monetize a hobby, or express ideas that attract opportunities. This is especially relevant for those who work in writing, media, design, beauty, fashion, coaching, or counseling. There's also a strong travel-related energy during this period, especially short-distance trips that expand your understanding of the world or reconnect you with spiritual inspiration. Whether it's a spontaneous getaway to recharge, a pilgrimage, or a visit to your hometown, such journeys can hold more than just logistical importance. they can transform your mindset and reignite motivation. Jupiter's 12th house rulership also suggests that some trips may have a subtle spiritual or therapeutic purpose, perhaps even helping you release old patterns or beliefs. Mentally, this conjunction expands your curiosity and desire for new information. You may feel more eager to read, learn, and explore new skills or philosophies. Venus adds an artistic flair, while Jupiter emphasizes meaning and depth. This is an ideal time to pursue short-term courses or certifications that enhance your professional or personal growth. You'll not only absorb information quickly but also express it in a way that captures attention. For those in sales, marketing, or teaching, your impact now can be significant. Romantically, this period fosters deep and heartfelt conversations within partnerships, whether you're already committed or exploring new connections. Venus's presence enhances sensuality and affection, while Jupiter brings sincerity and optimism. If single, someone you meet through your social network, travels, or educational environment may spark your interest. Couples may find themselves bonding over shared goals, future plans, or philosophical discussions. With Jupiter's link to the 12th house, it's also a time when emotional vulnerability and honest introspection can be key to keeping intimacy alive. Yet, it's important to note that Mars, your chart ruler, is currently transiting Leo and conjoined with Ketu, intensifying the atmosphere of drive and inner fire. This combination in your 5th house may bring up competitiveness, creative friction, or the urge to stand out and be recognized. You may feel torn between expressing yourself with grace, Venus-Jupiter in the 3rd, and asserting dominance or control, Mars-Ketu in the 5th. The key is to integrate both forces. Use your courage and individuality to share your light, while remaining tactful, kind, and aware of others' perspectives. On July 28th, Mars enters Virgo, moving into your 6th house, which will shift your energy toward organization, service, health, and routine. The assertiveness and fiery edge from the Leo-Ketu conjunction will begin to transition into a more pragmatic and detail-focused mindset. This movement complements the Venus-Jupiter energy by allowing you to implement ideas you've been inspired by and execute them with precision. Since Mars in the 6th can bring a competitive edge or confrontational tendencies in work environments, it's essential to balance your communication, 3rd house, with humility and patience. Another dimension of this transit is its psychological and spiritual impact. Since both Jupiter and Venus have links to the 12th house, Jupiter owns it, Venus is naturally exalted in the 12th of the Zodiac. This suggests that your mind might be exploring mystical, hidden, or emotional layers beneath the surface of your consciousness. You may want to share parts of your journey, or reflect on past life themes, karmic bonds, and emotional cycles. The influence of this conjunction may even inspire you to rebuild your confidence after a phase of emotional confusion or detachment. The 3rd house governs courage and initiative, and with 2 benefics here, your self-belief can be restored in a positive and spiritually aligned way. You may take bold steps to express your truth without fear, whether that's through art, conversation, activism, or social presence. Just remember that the real power lies in your authenticity and the ability to blend truth with compassion. Overall, for Aries, the conjunction of Venus and Jupiter in the 3rd house initiates a multidimensional period where communication, relationships, wealth building, creative expression, and inner exploration all converge. This phase emphasizes the power of thoughtful speech, heartfelt interactions, and courageous self-expression. Your words can uplift others, your ideas can inspire change, and your emotional intelligence becomes your true strength. For Taurus, the Venus-Jupiter conjunction in Gemini between July 26th and August 21st, 2025, brings a strong focus on the 2nd house, the house of wealth, family, speech, personal values, food habits, and emotional security. This transit is especially significant because Venus is the ruler of the Taurus 1st house as well as the 6th house, while Jupiter governs the 8th and 11th houses. The convergence of these energies in the 2nd house creates a powerful stage for financial, emotional, and familial themes to unfold, with a distinct undercurrent of transformation, service, and material gain. Venus, as the 1st house lord, represents the very identity and personality of a Taurus native. It embodies their sense of aesthetics, love for beauty, personal style, desire for harmony, and how they connect with the material world. Its rulership of the 6th house also links Venus to matters of health, service, daily routines, debts, and conflicts. Jupiter, on the other hand, brings the depth and mystery of the 8th house, governing hidden wealth, secrets, psychological transformation, longevity, inheritance, and sudden changes, along with the abundance and networking influence of the 11th house, which governs friendships, large communities, ambitions, and gains. When these 2 benefic planets meet in the 2nd house, it activates an important area in the Taurus chart. The second house is naturally aligned with Taurus energy in the Kalpurusha chart, making this transit all the more potent. For Taurus individuals, this period becomes a time of reevaluation of personal values, enhancement of financial security, and the possibility of material and emotional gains through family connections, social networks, and even unexpected sources like inheritance or a settlement. The conjunction may manifest as an increase in income or access to new financial resources. Because Jupiter represents expansion and Venus represents both wealth and personal desires, Taurus individuals might see a boost in earnings, particularly through communication, business, or networking. Those working in fields related to finance, luxury goods, design, teaching, or client services may find this a productive period for growth. This could also be a time when investments begin to show returns, or when an opportunity for passive income or long-term savings strategies emerges. Yet, Jupiter's rulership of the 8th house brings a deeper layer. This wealth may not necessarily arrive in straightforward ways. It could be connected to joint ventures, legacies, insurance, taxes, or financial restructuring. There may be sudden and transformative shifts in how Taurus individuals manage their assets or perceive wealth, including a desire to bring more spiritual or value-based integrity into their relationship with money. The presence of Venus in this house will enhance the desire to beautify one's home, speech, and lifestyle. Taurus individuals may find themselves drawn toward more indulgent purchases, perhaps buying art, jewelry, clothing, or gourmet food. There's also a strong emphasis on refining how they speak and interact with family, as the second house also governs verbal expression and family ties. Jupiter's expansive energy can improve relationships within the family, especially with elders. Words spoken during this time can carry great impact, both for healing and for establishing one's presence. Taurus individuals might even be seen as the wise voice in family discussions or become the emotional anchor in domestic matters. The second house isn't just about financial stability. It's also about how one values oneself and how secure one feels internally. With both Venus and Jupiter here, Taurus individuals may embark on a deeper inner journey to redefine what security really means to them. Jupiter from the 8th house brings transformative insight and the ability to confront buried fears or emotional baggage. Venus encourages Taurus to seek beauty and pleasure in the present, while Jupiter asks whether those pleasures serve a higher, sustainable purpose. This inner contrast could lead to essential realizations about what needs to be let go of: old habits, financial dependencies, or relationships that no longer resonate with their core values. Because Venus also rules the 6th house, matters related to health, daily work life, and service could be closely intertwined with this transit. It may be a time when Taurus individuals reconsider how their job or routine aligns with their value system. They may choose to focus more on work that brings emotional or spiritual satisfaction, rather than merely financial reward. Alternatively, there could be improvements in health through better food habits and self-care, especially since the second house also governs what one consumes. This conjunction might encourage Taurus individuals to adopt a more refined approach to diet and wellness. Jupiter-Venus conjunction in the house of speech can give Taurus a charming, wise, and persuasive manner of communicating. If they are involved in public speaking, media, teaching, or client-facing roles, their words can have a greater reach and emotional resonance. There could also be a desire to engage in creative or spiritual writing, storytelling, or singing. If there has been a long-held desire to share something with the world, be it knowledge, a personal journey, or an artistic expression, this transit may act as a catalyst. It is also important to remain mindful of the tendency to overindulge, especially in material or sensual pleasures. The combined influence of Venus and Jupiter, both inclined toward enjoyment, can sometimes amplify desires to a point where one loses balance. Excessive spending, overeating, or attaching too much value to appearances or luxuries can create long-term issues. With Saturn retrograding in Pisces, the 11th house from Taurus, it's also a period when social ambitions and long-term goals are under review. Hence, every financial or personal decision should be weighed against long-term sustainability. Adding complexity, Mercury is retrograding in Cancer, turning direct on August 11th, which can affect financial discussions, contract signing, or communication related to family property, banking, and legal matters. It would be wise to double-check financial documents or verbal agreements during the retrograde phase. Important decisions may gain clarity only after Mercury resumes forward motion. Finally, because Jupiter rules the 11th house, this transit could bring gains through friends, social causes, or large networks. Some Taurus individuals may find support from influential allies or through collective platforms. A long-held desire could begin to take form, particularly one that aligns financial prosperity with a sense of emotional or spiritual purpose. Overall, this Venus-Jupiter conjunction in the second house is a profound blend of material enhancement and inner transformation for Taurus individuals. It offers a chance to solidify financial foundations, improve speech and communication, and cultivate richer family bonds, all while revisiting the deeper motivations behind one's desires. Whether through tangible wealth, a newfound sense of self-worth, or a more meaningful engagement with others, Taurus individuals can expect to emerge from this transit with greater clarity about what truly matters, and with the charm, grace, and intelligence to pursue it. For Gemini, the Venus-Jupiter conjunction taking place in their first house signals a vibrant and highly influential phase of personal development, charisma, and outward expression. This is a moment where your identity and presence in the world undergo a compelling evolution, influenced by two of the most benefic planets aligning in your own sign. Venus, ruling your 12th and 5th houses, and Jupiter, ruling your 7th and 10th houses, come together to shape a multidimensional experience, affecting your relationships, career, creativity, spiritual outlook, and how others perceive you. Jupiter gains directional strength in the first house, amplifying its power significantly, while Mercury, your ruling planet, is retrograde, adding a layer of inner processing, reevaluation, and heightened mental activity during this period. The first house represents the self, your body, personality, behavior, approach to life, and overall aura. Any transit through this house directly impacts your self-image and how others respond to your presence. With Jupiter placed here in strength, there's a noticeable expansion of your personal magnetism. You may find yourself more optimistic, outgoing, or idealistic than usual. Jupiter in the first house often encourages a broader perspective and philosophical mindset. It pushes you to think big and act with integrity. This could be a time when you develop greater self-confidence, or assume a more prominent role in your social or professional environment. Simultaneously, Venus transiting your first house softens your demeanor and adds an air of charm, creativity, and physical attractiveness. Venusian energy in the first house encourages you to express your identity through beauty, affection, romance, or creative pursuits. You may pay more attention to your appearance, social manners, or the way you speak and move. This conjunction allows you to embody a sense of refined grace and philosophical warmth, drawing others to you effortlessly. Together, Jupiter and Venus can bring a magnetic pull to your personality, where people are inspired not just by how you look or speak, but by what you believe and stand for. The influence of Venus as the 12th lord introduces elements of privacy, longing, and spiritual transcendence into this period. The 12th house governs foreign lands, sleep, isolation, expenditures, and the dissolution of ego. When its lord comes into the first house, it can blur the boundaries between self and other, between what is visible and what is hidden. You may feel a subtle pull towards solitude or spiritual practices that allow you to better understand your inner world. There's also a possibility of attracting relationships that have a karmic or fated quality, as the 12th house is also the house of past life connections. Venus also rules your 5th house, which adds creativity, romance, children, and speculative ventures into the equation. This combination suggests a deep emotional and creative expression taking focus. You may feel the urge to share your talents or speak your heart's desires, especially through art, music, writing, or teaching. Romantic experiences during this time can be deeply fulfilling or even idealistic, though one must be cautious of placing people or fantasies on a pedestal. This transit could also indicate the beginning of a new love story, especially with someone from a foreign background or spiritual circle. On the other side, Jupiter's rulership over the 7th and 10th houses connects this period with themes of relationships and career growth. Jupiter in the first house strengthens your presence in both spheres, making you more visible and respected in professional environments and more desirable in partnerships. The 7th house governs committed relationships and business collaborations, while the 10th house is your status, profession, and karmic duties in the world. Their lord sitting in your first house suggests you're being called to lead from the front. Your personality becomes the key to shaping your destiny in both personal and professional domains. You may attract mentors, clients, or partners who align with your higher ideals or help elevate your reputation. Mercury, the planet that rules Gemini, is retrograding in Cancer, your 2nd house. This naturally adds introspection around themes of finances, family, speech, and values. You may find yourself reflecting deeply on what you truly value, how you use your voice, or how family patterns affect your present identity. Since your ruling planet is retrograde, you might feel a temporary disconnection between your thoughts and your actions. Decisions may take longer to make, and you might go through a phase of internal questioning. Am I being true to myself? Or is this the path I really want to follow? This retrograde could also pull you into unfinished conversations, financial matters, or unresolved family dynamics. It's not a time to rush into commitments, especially financial or contractual ones, but it is a powerful period for inner work, reflecting on how your childhood, education, and early environment have shaped the way you now define success and security. It's a good time to rewrite outdated scripts around self-worth and discover the power of conscious communication. When Mercury turns direct on August 11th, much of this inner turmoil will begin to resolve. While this Venus-Jupiter conjunction brings many gifts, it also carries potential for overindulgence or excessive idealism. Jupiter tends to amplify whatever it touches, and Venus in the first house already increases the desire to enjoy life, whether through food, pleasure, luxury, or love. With both planets in the first house, there can be a temptation to escape reality or chase dreams that are not fully grounded. This is where Saturn's role becomes relevant. Saturn is currently retrograding in Pisces, which is your 10th house of karma and responsibility. It may cast a subtle check on your ambitions, reminding you to stay grounded, respect your duties, and not ignore professional obligations amidst personal indulgence. The Rahu-Ketu axis continues to transit through Aquarius and Leo respectively, in your 9th and 3rd houses, which further heightens the focus on communication, learning, travel, and belief systems. There's a strong karmic current guiding your life philosophy, and the Venus-Jupiter conjunction may help you articulate these beliefs in ways that inspire others. You may even be drawn to teach, publish, or share your thoughts with a larger audience during this time. Overall, this rare conjunction in your first house becomes a powerful rebirth of self. Your personality, appearance, ambitions, relationships, and belief systems are all undergoing subtle yet profound evolution. The world sees a new you, not just more confident and attractive, but more aligned with your inner values and higher purpose. Your speech becomes more influential, your decisions more impactful, and your ability to attract success through sheer magnetism grows immensely. The retrograde motion of your ruling planet asks you to pause, reflect, and fine-tune the internal narrative so that the outer transformation can be both authentic and lasting. For Cancer, the Venus-Jupiter conjunction occurring in the 12th house carries significant spiritual, emotional, and karmic implications. The 12th house is a deeply mystical realm, governing isolation, loss, sleep, foreign lands, liberation, subconscious desires, and the dissolution of ego. With two benefic planets, Venus and Jupiter, uniting in this zone, Cancer individuals are entering a period of quiet transformation that may not be visible on the surface, but which can bring profound internal growth. Venus, as the lord of the 11th and 4th houses, and Jupiter, ruling the 6th and 9th houses, together influence gains, home life, daily struggles, and higher wisdom. The fusion of these themes in the 12th house points to a time when inner peace becomes the highest form of success, and emotional fulfillment may arrive through subtle detachment rather than active striving. The 12th house is the natural home of Pisces, where Venus finds exaltation. Although this conjunction is taking place in Gemini, its very placement in the 12th house activates Venus's exalted qualities: compassion, surrender, spiritual devotion, and aesthetic refinement. Venus in the 12th can awaken a longing for something transcendent, a love that is pure and unconditional, an artistic calling that bypasses the material world, or a connection with the divine that offers healing and release. When Jupiter joins Venus here, the spiritual dimension is magnified. Jupiter is the planet of truth, dharma, and expansion. In the 12th house, it encourages a journey inward, often pulling the individual toward higher learning, foreign cultures, pilgrimages, or charitable work. This period may create a strong urge to withdraw from the chaos of the outer world. Cancer individuals may find themselves craving solitude, needing more rest, or feeling detached from their usual routines. This isn't a time for aggressive action or worldly ambition, but for deep healing, introspection, and letting go of patterns that no longer serve your growth. For some, this could manifest as a retreat into spiritual practice, meditation, prayer, or silent reflection. For others, it could mean releasing toxic emotional baggage, ending karmic relationships, or confronting subconscious fears. The combined energy of Venus and Jupiter in this house provides both the gentleness of forgiveness and the clarity of spiritual truth, making it an ideal time for emotional closure and energetic cleansing. Venus rules your 11th house of gains, friendships, ambitions, and social networks, as well as your 4th house of home, comfort, and emotional security. When the Lord of Prophets and emotional foundation moves into the 12th house, some aspects of your social or domestic life may begin to shift. There could be a sense of distance or detachment from friends, groups, or long-held ambitions. You may no longer resonate with certain social circles or find satisfaction in material gains that once motivated you. Emotionally, you might feel a yearning for inner peace rather than outer validation. For some, this transit might prompt a relocation or travel to foreign lands, perhaps for higher education or healing. For others, it could bring emotional fulfillment through letting go, whether it's releasing control over family dynamics, selling ancestral property, or healing unresolved childhood wounds. Jupiter, meanwhile, governs your 6th house of routine, health, enemies, debts, and challenges, as well as your 9th house of fortune, dharma, long-distance journeys, and philosophical beliefs. These are very different houses, the 6th being a house of struggle, and the 9th being one of grace. Their rulership merging in the 12th house hints at a paradox of effort and surrender. You may find that past efforts now require spiritual closure. Health matters might lead you toward holistic or spiritual solutions, perhaps through meditation or healing. Debts, both financial and karmic, could be up for review, and Jupiter's presence may help you resolve them ethically. This is also a good time to evaluate your belief systems, especially those around suffering, service, and sacrifice. The 12th house is strongly associated with sleep, dreams, and the unconscious mind. During this conjunction, Cancer individuals may experience intense dreams, or signs from the universe nudging them toward greater alignment. Sleep patterns may fluctuate, either becoming unusually restful or disrupted. Journaling or spiritual rituals may help process these subtle messages. For those in creative fields, this period can unlock a torrent of inspiration from the subconscious, leading to poetry, music, painting, or storytelling that taps into something deeper than the rational mind. A strong karmic theme is also evident in this transit. Relationships that enter or exit during this time are likely part of a larger soul contract. You may find yourself drawn to someone from a different culture or spiritual background, or encounter people who feel deeply familiar, perhaps connected to past lives. Not all connections formed during this time will be meant to last. The 12th house often brings temporary yet transformative experiences. People who enter your life to teach a lesson, awaken compassion, or bring healing before moving on. It's important not to cling, but to accept the fleeting nature of these bonds with gratitude. While this transit is deeply inward, its effects can manifest externally too, especially in terms of financial expenditure and travel. You might invest in spiritual retreats, healing therapies, or foreign travel. Though some expenses may feel sudden or draining, they could also be karmically necessary or spiritually rewarding. On the career front, progress might not be visible immediately. Some of you may feel disoriented about your direction, or disconnected from professional ambitions. That's okay. The purpose of this transit is to reorient your inner compass before re-engaging with the outer world. Adding to this introspective tone is the fact that Mercury, the lord of Gemini, is retrograde in your own sign, Cancer. As Mercury governs both the 3rd and 12th houses for you, its retrograde emphasizes communication, thinking patterns, and karmic introspection. You may find yourself re-evaluating how you express your needs, your inner voice, or how childhood conditioning shaped your emotional responses. Emotional clarity may not come easily at first. Expect moments of self-doubt, miscommunication, or hypersensitivity. This is also a powerful time to redefine your self-worth and mental boundaries. You may revisit old memories that now appear in a new light. Once Mercury turns direct on August 11th, your ability to integrate the lessons of this conjunction will significantly improve. With Rahu in Aquarius, your 8th house, and Ketu in Leo, your 2nd house, themes of transformation and release of old values are heightened. Ketu in the 2nd is detaching you from rigid ideas about security and wealth, while Rahu in the 8th house is exposing you to the deeper mysteries of life, psychology, occult, sexuality, and shared resources. The Venus-Jupiter conjunction in the 12th complements this axis beautifully by softening the edges and inviting surrender, healing, and spiritual wisdom. Overall, this is not a time for worldly glory, but for deep, soulful evolution. The universe is encouraging Cancer individuals to let go, trust, and reconnect with what is eternal. Whether it manifests as healing a long-standing emotional wound, retreating into a sanctuary of solitude, falling in love with your own soul, or finding purpose through surrender, this conjunction marks a threshold moment. One that may go unnoticed by the outside world but will leave an indelible mark on you. For Leo, the Venus-Jupiter conjunction taking place in the 11th house marks a deeply promising and potentially rewarding phase in life. The 11th house in astrology governs desires, long-term goals, financial profits, friendships, networks, social influence, and recognition. When two benefic planets, Venus, ruler of the 10th and 3rd houses, and Jupiter, ruler of the 5th and 8th houses, unite in this expansive house, it creates an auspicious alignment that can catalyze tangible gains, elevated status, and long-awaited achievements, especially in professional and creative pursuits. This is a time when aspirations begin to materialize, but not without conscious effort and alignment with Dharma. Venus governs your 10th house of profession, reputation, and authority, and 3rd house of communication, courage, effort, and short travels. Jupiter rules your 5th house of intelligence, creativity, children, and speculative gains, as well as your 8th house of transformation, shared resources, and secrets. With both of these planets conjoining in your 11th house, Themes around career success, artistic expression, bold networking, and destiny-driven alliances come to the forefront. This transit bridges your ambition with your talents, and your skills with your desire for broader recognition. Those working in media, entertainment, the arts, education, finance, or leadership roles may find this a breakthrough period for long-pending goals. Offers, honors, collaborations, or even popularity in a public or digital platform may suddenly spike. Venus adds elegance and magnetism to your social interactions during this period. People may find your presence attractive, and your ideas more persuasive. You may also find yourself gravitating toward more influential or creative social circles, where your contributions are not only welcome but celebrated. Since Venus rules the 10th house for you, this suggests that any career move now, whether it's a promotion, an expansion of duties, or a prestigious assignment, may come through the support of a network or benefactor. It is a good time to ask for help, pitch a creative idea, or present your talents to a wider audience. Jupiter's influence, particularly as Lord of the 5th and 8th houses, brings a layer of wisdom, depth, and karmic influence into this mix. The 5th house connection highlights intellectual gifts, romance, children, and speculative ventures. You may feel unusually creative and inspired, able to attract attention through your original ideas or heartfelt expressions. This transit favors artists, performers, teachers, and investors. Romantic developments can also flourish, possibly through mutual social networks or shared aspirations. If you're trying to conceive or focusing on children's education or well-being, this is a particularly supportive time. Jupiter's rulership over the 8th house adds an interesting dimension, indicating that hidden blessings, joint assets, inheritance, or deeper psychological transformation could become part of your journey toward gain. There may be unexpected support from a spouse, business partner, or even from an unseen karmic force. For those in research, occult, healing, or psychological fields, this transit may mark a turning point of deep insight and exposure. The 11th house is also a house of fulfillment of desires, and with this conjunction, it's possible that something you've long wished for, be it a project, connection, or recognition, begins to bear fruit. But there is also a subtle reminder not to become too fixated on material accumulation alone. The spiritual grace of Jupiter and the refinement of Venus offer the message that true abundance flows when ambition is rooted in authenticity and service. At the same time, this phase is colored by other important planetary motions that Leo individuals must be mindful of. The Sun, your chart ruler, is currently transiting Cancer, your 12th house, alongside retrograde Mercury. This suggests that, even as you experience external gains, your internal compass is still undergoing reflection and recalibration. The Sun and the May 12th bring temporary seclusion, a desire for rest, or even confusion about direction. You may question your path, your identity, or your next move. Mercury retrograde adds layers of introspection and reevaluation. It's wise to double-check communications, contracts, and assumptions during this time. Though your public image may shine, your inner world is still processing subtle changes. Allow yourself moments of retreat amid the celebration. Adding to this dynamic is the presence of Mars and Ketu transiting through your first house, Leo, until July 28th, when Mars moves into Virgo. Mars in your sign fuels energy, drive, and charisma, but with Ketu, it brings a volatile intensity, especially regarding personal decisions and ego expression. You may feel torn between aggressive assertion and sudden detachment. There could be moments of frustration, identity crisis, or impulsive behavior that may affect your physical energy or interactions. After Mars moves into Virgo, you may feel more focused on financial planning and practical action. Still, Ketu remains in Leo, continuing to influence your self-perception, possibly pushing you to detach from old notions of identity, pride, or validation seeking. This combination also suggests the potential for ego clashes or dominance issues within friendships or social alliances during the Venus-Jupiter conjunction. You may find that while you're gaining recognition, not all peers celebrate your success. Ketu's detaching influence may slowly help you see who's genuinely supportive and who no longer aligns with your evolving purpose. It may also cause you to disengage from groups or activities that once defined you, especially if they feel superficial or ego-driven. Romantically, this is a beautiful period to connect with someone on a shared vision. The 5th and 11th house energies work together to unite hearts through common dreams and ideals. You may fall for someone who inspires you creatively or someone you meet through a professional or community engagement. For those already in relationships, this is a good time to set mutual goals, invest in your shared future, or collaborate on projects. Children may bring joy, pride, or reasons to celebrate during this time. If you've been struggling in matters of the heart, Jupiter's presence can bring healing and perspective. Financially, this transit is one of the more powerful windows of the year. Whether through a raise, side hustle, new clientele, social promotion, or even speculative gains, there are tangible opportunities to increase income. If you're in a commission-based role or reliant on public engagement, you may experience a boom. Don't lose sight of long-term sustainability. The 8th house connection can also bring sudden gains or losses, so discernment is key in investing or signing financial deals. Jupiter in the 11th encourages big-picture thinking, while Venus adds flair and appeal. Whether you're launching a brand, a book, a show, or even something as personal as a digital journal or community, your ideas can now reach people who resonate. Use this time to share your truth, even if it feels bold or risky. Overall, for Leo individuals, this Venus-Jupiter conjunction is not just about outer gain, but about realizing how your talents, courage, relationships, and inner vision can converge to create real-world impact. Yes, you are meant to shine, but the light must come from within, not just from applause. For Virgo, the Venus-Jupiter conjunction taking place in the 10th house marks a major shift in professional life, public visibility, and life direction. The 10th house is one of the most important houses in astrology, governing career, karma, authority, reputation, responsibilities, and how one contributes to the world at large. When two benefic planets like Venus and Jupiter unite here, it triggers significant potential for growth, honors, and elevation in status. The nuances of this conjunction also require attention, as Venus, though a benefic, loses directional strength in the 10th house, and Mercury, your chart ruler, is currently retrograding in Cancer, creating a backdrop of introspection and reconsideration around goals. Venus governs your 2nd house of wealth, speech, family values, and your 9th house of fortune, higher learning, and long-distance journeys. Jupiter rules your 4th house of emotional stability, home, and inner peace, and your 7th house of relationships, business partnerships, and public dealings. With both of these influential planets conjoining in the 10th house, the spotlight now shifts to how you show up in the world, not just in terms of career or title, but in how your values, education, and personal relationships shape your larger contribution to society. This is a time when your name could become more recognized, your work more visible, and your influence more respected, provided you're working in alignment with your deeper principles. With Venus as the 2nd lord sitting in the 10th, your speech, aesthetics, financial planning, and cultural refinement come to influence your career. You may be called upon to lead with grace, speak publicly, or represent your organization in a refined manner. Professions related to design, beauty, law, finance, or diplomacy are particularly favored now. Venus does not function with full strength in this house. Venus's charm is somewhat suppressed by the high expectations and weighty nature of the 10th house. This could manifest as pressure to perform, overthinking your image, or even being judged unfairly despite your efforts. Nonetheless, the blessings of the 9th house still pour in, suggesting that mentors, international connections, or spiritual guidance can uplift your work life. You may benefit from someone wiser or more experienced who helps position you better professionally. Jupiter's presence brings a stabilizing force. As the ruler of your 4th and 7th houses, Jupiter here emphasizes harmony between your personal foundations and public responsibilities. If you've been navigating instability at home or in marriage, this is a time when greater understanding can emerge, through honest conversations or aligned decisions that balance home and work. On a deeper level, Jupiter helps bring emotional maturity to your ambitions. You begin to understand what kind of success feels genuinely fulfilling, not just in the eyes of society, but for your own soul. The 7th house influence also brings focus to collaborations, contracts, client relationships, and public engagements. Business partnerships may thrive now, or you may attract opportunities through networking or marriage-related ties. With both these planets here, the karmic rewards of past efforts may finally begin to ripen. Promotions, recognition, new titles, or long-awaited responsibilities could land in your lap. There may be opportunities to expand into new territories, perhaps involving international travel, teaching, publishing, or higher education. If you're involved in government, law, the arts, or healing professions, this is a favorable period to step into a new role. Because Mercury is retrograding in Cancer, your 11th house of gains and networks, you may feel uncertain about long-term direction or doubt whether current achievements are sustainable. Avoid rushing into decisions or making career moves based solely on temporary praise. Take time to reflect on what kind of legacy you truly want to build. Mercury retrograde also calls for re-evaluation of your goals and associations. You may reconnect with old allies, revisit past dreams, or have delays around group projects. There may be confusion or miscommunication with superiors or team members, requiring tact and patience. Use this period to refine your vision, even if it means delaying action. Once Mercury goes direct, clarity will return, and decisions made then will carry more strength and alignment. Meanwhile, on July 28th, Mars enters Virgo, your 1st house. This introduces an entirely new flavor, one of action, urgency, and personal power. Mars in the first house gives a surge of physical energy, assertiveness, and the desire to take charge of your life. This complements the Venus-Jupiter energy well, but it also introduces the risk of impatience or conflict if you're not grounded. Channel this Mars energy constructively by asserting boundaries, initiating leadership roles, or starting health and fitness regimens. Be cautious not to come across as overly critical or aggressive, especially with colleagues or authority figures. Mars here also helps you push past fears or hesitation. Use it to act on insights that emerge during Mercury's retrograde. Jupiter's 7th house rulership brings beneficial people into your orbit, potential spouses, mentors, or clients who reflect back your strengths. You may feel supported by someone significant who believes in your mission. If you're already in a committed relationship, your partner may experience success of their own or support you publicly. There may also be opportunities to collaborate on a business or public-facing project together. On the financial front, this transit can bring increased earnings through career advancements, client expansions, or new roles. Since Venus rules your 2nd house, a raise, bonus, or monetization of your skills is possible. Still, don't forget Venus's compromised directional strength. Manage your finances with clarity, and avoid decisions driven by status or external validation. Investments made now should be backed by research, not just optimism. With Jupiter ruling the 4th house and placed in the 10th, you are being asked to balance your private and public lives. While you rise externally, your inner side needs tending. Don't neglect your need for peace, nurturing, and emotional grounding. Home renovations, buying property, or moving for career reasons could also arise. Family dynamics may evolve, especially if your work commitments demand more time and attention. Aim to maintain healthy emotional boundaries. For students or those involved in higher studies, this transit offers guidance, wisdom, and perhaps mentorship from professors or spiritual guides. If you're considering applying for scholarships, visas, or foreign education, the Venus-Jupiter conjunction could support the process, though paperwork may be delayed during Mercury's retrograde. Romantically, this is a time to evaluate whether your relationships are supporting your purpose. With Jupiter involved, your standards may rise, and you may desire deeper commitment. If single, you may attract someone through your career field or public engagements. If attached, conversations around long-term goals and shared ambitions may arise. Avoid power struggles. Instead, focus on building mutual respect and shared vision. Overall, this Venus-Jupiter conjunction in the 10th house is one of the most potent periods for Virgo individuals to step into a new level of professional mastery and spiritual alignment. You are being given a window to shine, but it must be guided by inner clarity, not ego. The world is ready to receive your gifts, but you must show up as the most refined, grounded, and conscious version of yourself. With Mercury retrograding, allow introspection to guide your choices. With Mars entering your sign, trust your instincts and take initiative, but do so with wisdom. For Libra, the conjunction of Venus and Jupiter in the 9th house brings an expansive, philosophical, and destiny-shaping phase that can influence your long-term path in profound ways. The 9th house is the domain of fortune, dharma, higher wisdom, long-distance travel, spiritual mentors, and moral convictions. When two benefic planets unite in this house, especially with Venus as your 1st house lord and Jupiter as the ruler of the 3rd and 6th houses, this creates a dynamic blend of growth, inspiration, and karmic development. The conjunction encourages you to seek higher meaning and purpose, while aligning your inner values with your outer actions. Because both planets carry certain complex significations for Libra, the results of this conjunction will unfold through a nuanced interplay of blessings and lessons. Venus, being your 1st house lord and also the ruler of the 8th house, carries both personal and transformational energy. Venus's presence in the 9th house makes you more drawn to beauty in philosophy, harmony in belief systems, and grace in spiritual practices. You may be inclined toward learning from foreign cultures, diving into spiritual studies, or exploring literature, art, and mythology that speak to your soul. This is an excellent time to invest energy in studying sacred knowledge, traveling for growth, or aligning with a teacher or guide who mirrors your higher ideals. The 8th house rulership of Venus introduces elements of mystery, depth, and inner transformation. You may experience sudden insights or even events that force you to question your beliefs and rebuild your worldview from the inside out. These shifts may feel intense, but they are necessary for your growth. Jupiter's presence in the 9th house is naturally auspicious, as he is the natural significator of this house. But for Libra individuals, Jupiter owns the 3rd house of courage, communication, efforts, and siblings, and the 6th house of challenges, competition, debts, and enemies. His conjunction with Venus here brings out a strong desire to rise above past limitations through personal willpower and righteous effort. This transit can inspire you to speak with more conviction, write or teach with greater confidence, and take bolder steps toward your long-held goals. Jupiter's 6th house rulership also brings karmic themes to the forefront. This may be a time when you are tested in your moral and ethical compass, especially when dealing with conflicts, authority figures, or unfair circumstances. If you've been engaged in legal battles, educational struggles, or workplace competition, this is a time when your luck begins to shift, provided you've acted in alignment with integrity. The 9th house is the house of Dharma, and any deviation from your soul's principles will become clear. You may be forced to take responsibility for past actions or make amends before moving forward. At the same time, if you stay true to your higher path, this conjunction rewards you with guidance, solutions, and a sense of renewed hope. This is also a period where relationships with father figures, teachers, or mentors may become central to your life. You may be guided by someone more spiritually evolved or gain from someone with a wealth of experience. You might reconnect with an elder who inspires you, or take up advanced education, certifications, or pilgrimages. If you've been considering publishing your work, this is an ideal period to begin the process, especially for content that involves philosophy, beauty, healing, or service. Foreign travel or relocation for studies, work, or spiritual reasons is another possibility during this conjunction. The 9th house rules long-distance journeys, and Venus-Jupiter here could offer an invitation to visit a sacred place, attend a retreat, or even move abroad for a higher calling. The presence of the 8th house ruler, Venus, here can suggest an almost fated quality to the journey. Something about it could change your life irrevocably, whether through meeting a new guide, falling in love with a new culture, or having a spiritual awakening. On the professional front, your career path may now be shaped more by belief than ambition. You may question whether your current work aligns with your ideals or whether you're merely chasing success without deeper satisfaction. This conjunction helps you seek meaningful success that serves others and supports your own growth. If you're in professions related to education, counseling, art, law, spirituality, or diplomacy, this is an extremely favorable time to rise in stature. Opportunities may also come through foreign clients or philosophical collaborations. Because Venus is your chart ruler, Venus's movement greatly influences your appearance, vitality, and overall well-being. With Venus's conjunct Jupiter in the 9th, you may radiate more wisdom, beauty, and charisma, especially when engaging with intellectual or spiritual circles. You may attract others simply through the way you speak, teach, or carry your values. Beware of becoming overly idealistic or rigid in your beliefs. Jupiter sometimes inflates, and Venus can gloss over flaws. Make sure you're not falling into guru complexes or chasing utopian ideas without grounding. The 3rd house rulership of Jupiter brings focus to writing, media, communication, and personal effort. You may launch a blog, podcast, or course based on what you've learned. Siblings or peers may also play a bigger role in your life. There could be travel with siblings, collaborative efforts, or reconciliations. The 6th house influence means you must guard against overcommitting or taking on too many responsibilities out of a desire to be helpful or liked. Learn to say no when needed. Financially, this period is moderately supportive, especially if you're involved in teaching, legal advising, publishing, or creative industries. You may also receive support or gifts from elders, institutions, or through travel-related ventures. Be cautious with over-optimistic investments or relying too heavily on luck. With the 8th and 6th house influences, sudden expenses or karmic debts may surface. Don't avoid facing obligations. Resolve them with grace and practicality. Romantic relationships may take a philosophical tone. If you're single, you may be drawn to someone from a different background, culture, or belief system, someone who challenges and expands your worldview. Existing relationships may require conversations around spiritual compatibility, shared visions, or ethical dilemmas. If your partnership feels spiritually empty, this could be a time of crisis or transformation. On the other hand, couples walking a similar dharmic path may strengthen their bond through joint spiritual practices, study, or travel. Health may remain generally stable, but with Jupiter's 6th house rulership activated, some may notice issues related to liver, digestion, or overindulgence. Because Venus is also involved, imbalances related to sugar, hormones, or reproductive organs may require attention, especially if you're ignoring the body's subtle signs. A disciplined routine, conscious eating, and spiritual grounding practices can help offset these tendencies. Overall, the Venus-Jupiter conjunction in the 9th house marks a destiny-defining moment for Libra individuals. Your soul seeks greater alignment with your truth, and the universe responds by offering teachings, opportunities, and connections that can help you fulfill that quest. The process is not always easy. it demands discernment, effort, and integrity. While the rewards may include recognition, wisdom, or even travel and love, the deeper reward is the clarity of walking a path that is authentically yours. For Scorpio, the powerful conjunction of Venus and Jupiter in the 8th house unfolds a deep, transformative, and karmically significant chapter in life. This is not a lighthearted or externalized phase. Rather, it draws your awareness inward and prompts profound shifts in areas of intimacy, emotional depth, hidden resources, joint finances, and spiritual awakening. The 8th house in Vedic astrology is a domain of secrets, sudden upheavals, inheritances, occultism, and regeneration. When two benefic planets unite here, especially with their rulership over some of the most important houses in your chart, the energies may manifest through subtle yet far-reaching developments. Venus, for Scorpio rising, governs the 12th house of losses, foreign lands, isolation, and spiritual liberation, and the 7th house of partnerships and marriage. Jupiter rules over your 2nd house of wealth, values, and speech, and the 5th house of creativity, progeny, and spiritual intelligence. The convergence of these planetary energies in the transformative 8th house creates a confluence of the material and the spiritual, the seen and the unseen, and brings karmic closure or breakthroughs in key areas of life, particularly involving relationships, shared resources, and inner healing. This is a period where you may feel an instinctive pull to let go of old attachments, especially those that have defined your sense of security or identity. Venus, the planet of love and desire, coming into conjunction with the expansive and wisdom-giving Jupiter in a house known for its unpredictability and intensity, may stir powerful undercurrents in your intimate relationships. If you are married or in a committed relationship, this conjunction may bring to surface hidden emotional dynamics, unresolved debts, emotional or financial, or suppressed desires. There may be a need to rebuild trust, renegotiate boundaries, or dive deeper into emotional honesty with your partner. At the same time, for those in spiritually aligned partnerships, this could be a time of profound bonding, where both people evolve together through vulnerability, shared healing, and exploring deeper truths. Financially, the 8th house also rules joint finances, inheritances, taxes, insurance, alimony, or investments. And since Jupiter is the lord of your 2nd house of accumulated wealth, and Venus rules the 12th house of expenses, this transit could spark both opportunities and challenges in these areas. You may receive a lump sum through inheritance, a legal settlement, or some form of financial windfall that had been pending. At the same time, it's equally possible that sudden expenses arise, especially connected to your spouse, health, or long-standing obligations. Hidden debts or overlooked financial issues may now demand resolution, especially if you have ignored them in the past. Venus being the lord of your 7th house, marriage, and 12th house, loss, combined with Jupiter's influence on family wealth and progeny, may also highlight your spouse's finances, their family, or their transformation. You may find your partner going through emotional or financial transitions of their own. If you're single, this transit might bring soul-stirring attractions, but often to people who challenge your emotional stability or push you into healing wounds you've long buried. There may be a karmic flavor to relationships that emerge now, people who show up to teach you deep lessons rather than offer surface-level romance. In some cases, such partnerships may be intense, sexually magnetic, or psychologically revealing. The 8th house is also deeply connected to esoteric sciences, hidden knowledge, and psychological insight. With both benefics stationed here, and with Jupiter's rulership over the 5th house, this is an excellent period to dive into astrology, tantra, yoga, energy healing, or mystical teachings. You may be drawn to study the occult, explore past life therapy, or immerse yourself in psychological self-work. This period can bring about internal breakthroughs and healing from long-standing traumas, particularly those related to childhood, intimacy, or trust. Journaling, therapy, and spiritual counseling may prove especially beneficial now. Your ruling planet Mars is currently transiting Leo, your 10th house of career and status, along with Ketu, the karmic separator. This transit creates an intense drive to assert your individuality in your profession or public life, while Ketu may push you to detach from hollow achievements. When Mars enters Virgo on July 28th, it will begin to aspect your 5th and 6th houses from the 11th position, highlighting themes around goals, network circles, and recognition. The concurrent Venus-Jupiter conjunction in the 8th will ensure that your outer victories are only meaningful if they align with your inner transformation. Any ambition pursued without a connection to your soul's purpose may feel hollow or bring complications. Mercury, the planet of intellect and analysis, is currently retrograde in Cancer, your 9th house, suggesting delays or rethinking around long-distance travel, higher education, or belief systems. With this intense 8th house conjunction underway, you may find yourself questioning your philosophies, spiritual practices, or worldview. This is a potent time for internal reflection, releasing old dogmas, and embracing beliefs that are rooted in lived experience rather than inherited conditioning. This is a favorable time for those in fields such as psychology, research, investigation, healing arts, and spiritual teaching. Those trying to conceive may also experience pivotal developments, but it's essential to address any underlying emotional blocks or stressors. Health-wise, the 8th house is traditionally associated with chronic conditions or hidden ailments. The involvement of Venus, ruling your 12th house, could highlight reproductive health, hormonal imbalances, or stress-related issues, particularly if you've been overextending yourself in relationships or ignoring your body's needs. Jupiter may expand existing conditions temporarily, making it a wise time to schedule health checkups, undergo detox routines, or address any psychosomatic symptoms. Practices like meditation may be particularly effective now. The 8th house is a gateway to deeper states of consciousness and personal rebirth. Venus brings surrender and devotion. Jupiter brings insight and grace. When they meet in this mystical house, you may feel called to release layers of identity that no longer serve you. This could manifest through dreams, meditative experiences, or a confrontation with mortality that brings about greater clarity. This is not a phase of passive spiritual interest. It's about embodying transformation, even if it comes through discomfort. Socially, you may find yourself withdrawing slightly from the external world, becoming more selective about your interactions, and spending more time in introspection. It's a time to cut emotional cords with people or patterns that no longer nourish your growth. Close alliances, especially those rooted in emotional honesty, can deepen profoundly. Overall, for Scorpio individuals, the Venus-Jupiter conjunction in the 8th house is a deep alchemical process that initiates a rebirth. Whether through emotional revelations, financial turning points, or spiritual breakthroughs, you're invited to shed layers of fear and control and embrace vulnerability, truth, and inner wisdom. While it may not always be a comfortable ride, the result can be a more integrated and empowered self. For Sagittarius, the conjunction of Venus and Jupiter in the 7th house opens a highly significant chapter focused on partnerships, both personal and professional. The 7th house is central to matters of marriage, legal alliances, contracts, business collaborations, and public relationships. It's a house of balance, the mirror of the self, where you encounter others in ways that challenge, refine, and reflect your own inner growth. With both benefic planets occupying this house, the spotlight turns to how you relate to the world around you, what you give and receive in partnerships, and how those dynamics support or hinder your broader evolution. Jupiter, the planet of expansion, truth, and blessings, is also your 1st house lord, making this transit even more personal and impactful. It also rules your 4th house, governing inner peace, home, emotions, and foundations. Venus, on the other hand, governs the 6th house of disputes, service, debts, and health, as well as the 11th house of income, achievements, and social networks. When these planetary energies come together in the 7th house, it's a unique blend of idealism and realism, pleasure and obligation, growth and compromise. Jupiter is an enemy sign here. This does not mean Jupiter becomes weak in a general sense. It retains its beneficence. But it does imply that the natural tendencies of Jupiter, such as independence, moral high ground, and inward spiritual focus, are somewhat compromised in the area of worldly relationships. This suggests that during this period, Sagittarius individuals may need to adjust expectations or navigate power dynamics in a more grounded, collaborative way, particularly within their closest partnerships. In the area of marriage and romantic relationships, this transit can usher in important developments. If you are single, the presence of Venus, the significator for love and relationships, in the house of committed partnership alongside your 1st house lord Jupiter may bring someone into your life who appears ideal, charming, or spiritually compatible. Due to Jupiter's compromised strength here, it's essential not to overlook red flags or rush into commitments based solely on appearances or wishful thinking. For those already in a relationship or marriage, this transit could bring a mix of pleasure and pressure. You may feel an increased need to create harmony and companionship, but it might also reveal underlying imbalances that need attention, particularly regarding expectations, responsibilities, or differing visions of the future. Venus as 6th lord brings an interesting dynamic to this transit. It introduces the energy of conflict, service, or unresolved karmic debts into partnerships. You may find that relational harmony doesn't come without effort. Past disagreements could resurface, or patterns around control, sacrifice, or criticism may need to be healed. Yet, Venus also rules your 11th house of gains, fulfillment, and friendships. Thus, positive outcomes are also likely if you're willing to work through the challenges. Some Sagittarius individuals may benefit financially through marriage, or receive support, connections, or opportunities through their spouse, business partner, or close associates. Professionally, the 7th house also governs business partnerships and public interactions. With this conjunction, you might find yourself collaborating with others more often, entering into joint ventures, or attracting new clients, mentors, or allies who help you expand your reach. Venus brings negotiation skills, diplomacy, and charm, while Jupiter adds wisdom and ethical grounding. If you're self-employed, this is a fantastic time to market your services, form strategic alliances, or create win-win situations. Ensure that your agreements are clearly defined, as the 6th Lord's presence also signals the potential for disputes or litigation if boundaries are unclear or ambitions are misaligned. From the emotional and psychological perspective, Jupiter's role as your 4th Lord placed in the May 7th reflect how your inner security is deeply linked with how you are treated in one-on-one interactions. You may realize that your emotional peace is no longer sustainable in relationships that lack mutual respect, equality, or understanding. This can also be a time where you work on healing past relational wounds, especially from early life or family dynamics, that unconsciously play out in your current partnerships. Venus's rulership over the 11th house brings in a social angle. Your network of friends, associates, and social contacts may play a key role in connecting you with someone influential or compatible during this transit. There's a high potential for benefits through networking, group involvement, or online platforms, especially in relation to creative or service-oriented work. This is also a time where being seen and appreciated by others becomes more important. If you're involved in public roles, teaching, performing, advising, your rapport with your audience may flourish, provided you balance assertiveness with humility. Health-wise, the influence of the 6th house cannot be ignored. Venus, despite being a benefic, can bring indulgence or imbalances when governing the 6th. If you're in a stressful relationship, or overworking in professional partnerships, it may start to take a toll on your physical well-being. Watch out for signs of fatigue, hormonal imbalances, or digestive issues, particularly if you've been pushing yourself too hard. Spiritually, this conjunction in the 7th house may act as a mirror for your higher growth. Jupiter always invites philosophical insight, and Venus softens the path through beauty, affection, and refinement. Together, they offer the chance to discover a new level of harmony within relationships that support your long-term dharma. There may also be developments regarding legal matters, contracts, or negotiations, especially those involving joint ventures, shared assets, or disputes. If you're involved in a divorce, separation, or legal disagreement with a business partner, this transit may bring resolution, provided you are willing to approach it with patience, strategy, and an open heart. Jupiter ensures that justice will lean in your favor if your intentions are pure, and Venus may bring compromise or settlement if you're willing to meet halfway. As this conjunction plays out, you may begin to redefine what partnership really means to you, not just in terms of love or work, but in how you balance self and other, desire and duty, independence and intimacy. You may question old relational patterns, release toxic dynamics, or make space for connections that truly uplift you. It's a period of evolution in how you relate, and that evolution may come through both joy and discomfort. Overall, for Sagittarius individuals, the Jupiter-Venus conjunction in the 7th house is a potent catalyst for relationship transformation, professional collaboration, and social harmony. Embrace this phase not just as an opportunity to enhance your outer relationships, but as a chance to discover deeper alignment between your inner truth and how you show up in all your bonds. For Capricorn, the conjunction of Venus and Jupiter in the 6th house brings a complex but transformative phase. This is a period when the energies of love, expansion, desire, wisdom, and effort meet in a house traditionally associated with challenges, such as debts, disputes, disease, daily routine, service, subordinates, and enemies. On the surface, the 6th house is not an easy arena. It plays a vital role in testing personal strength, building discipline, and fostering resilience. This makes the current Venus-Jupiter conjunction highly potent for breaking through stagnation and making constructive changes, especially in how you work, serve, heal, and navigate adversities. Venus governs your 10th house of career, public status, and responsibilities, as well as your 5th house of intelligence, romance, education, and creativity. Jupiter rules your 12th house of losses, foreign matters, isolation, and subconscious patterns, and your 3rd house of efforts, courage, communication, and siblings. Their combination in the 6th house suggests that multiple facets of your life, career, creative pursuits, ambitions, spiritual growth, hidden fears, and practical struggles are converging into one pivotal zone of testing and refinement. The results you experience during this time will largely depend on how willingly you accept the work involved and how deeply you're ready to transform old habits and self-limiting beliefs. In terms of career, this transit has several implications. Since Venus is your 10th lord and is now transiting the 6th house with Jupiter, you may find yourself facing more responsibilities, conflicts in the workplace, or pressure from authority figures. There may be a temporary disconnect between what you love doing and what you're required to do. This is not a sign of failure, but a time to master your craft, face criticism constructively, and prove your worth through hard work. Promotions or recognition may not come instantly, but the seeds you plant now will lead to long-term gains, especially if you approach tasks with integrity and dedication. With the 12th Lord also involved, some Capricorn individuals may work with foreign clients, deal with international transactions, or face shifts in their professional environment that require adaptability. Financially, the presence of the 12th Lord Jupiter and Venus as 10th and 5th Lord in the 6th house may indicate expenditures related to health, debts, or dependence. You may feel pulled to resolve old loans, repay karmic or material obligations, or invest in services that support your well-being or work efficiency. If you have pending legal or professional disputes, this transit may help bring resolution, especially if you've acted ethically. The involvement of both 5th and 12th house lords also warns against speculative ventures or risky investments. Maintain clarity in financial decisions and avoid emotional overspending. On the health front, this transit is especially relevant. The 6th house deals directly with health and illness, and Jupiter and Venus here can bring both relief and exposure. Hidden health issues could surface now, not necessarily in a threatening way, but as an opportunity to address long-ignored symptoms. For some, there may be hormonal imbalances, weight fluctuations, or ailments related to sugar, digestion, or reproductive organs. Jupiter's involvement suggests that holistic healing, spiritual practices, or changes in daily routine may bring powerful recovery. This is a good time to commit to a new diet, exercise program, or detox regimen. Preventive care and regular checkups will benefit you during this transit. Relationships and love life may experience tension during this time. Venus as the 5th Lord brings romantic energy, but the placement in the 6th house can turn that energy toward conflicts or misunderstandings, especially if expectations are unmet. The 6th house, being the 12th from the 7th, also represents challenges to relationships, loss of peace in partnerships, karmic debts with significant others, and the need to serve or be served. You may be required to support a partner emotionally or financially, or vice versa. If you're in a strained relationship, this period may bring important realizations about the power dynamics, give and take balance, and unspoken resentments in the bond. With Jupiter present, healing is possible if both parties are willing to work through the discomfort. For singles, this is not necessarily the best time for new romantic beginnings unless you're open to working on personal baggage first. Jupiter's rulership over your 3rd house of courage, communication, and initiative suggests that now is the time to take charge of your own life direction. Though the challenges may feel heavy, you have the strength to push through. The 6th house rewards consistent effort over flamboyant displays of ambition. Whether it's clearing a backlog of work, standing up to injustice, changing your health routine, or leaving a toxic situation, success will come through daily acts of discipline and faith. You may also find that relationships with siblings or colleagues become important now. Some might offer help, others may test your patience. The influence of the 12th Lord Jupiter in the 6th house also has a deeply karmic undertone. Hidden enemies or past life patterns may come to the surface. You may find yourself triggered by unresolved emotions or unconscious fears. Rather than resisting this process, embrace it as a path towards spiritual purification. This is a good time to adopt selfless service, charitable giving, or spiritual disciplines that help you detach from ego-driven actions. Meditation, pranayama, or solitude will be especially healing now. Venus's presence in the 6th also connects creativity and service. Those working in creative professions such as art, fashion, or entertainment may find themselves redirected toward causes or careers that have a social impact, such as teaching underprivileged children, creating therapeutic art, or offering services in healing or wellness industries. You may also feel drawn to pets, environmental causes, or volunteer work as a way to reconnect with the heart and channel your gifts more meaningfully. Your sign Lord Saturn is retrograding in Pisces, placed in your 3rd house of self-effort, communication, and skill development. This retrograde emphasizes a need to restructure your ambitions, revisit how you express yourself, and refine your approach to long-term goals. With the Jupiter-Venus conjunction in the 6th simultaneously pushing you toward discipline and cleanup, this is an excellent time to reassess your strategies, especially if you've been stuck in unproductive habits or people-pleasing cycles. Saturn will test your resilience and patience, but also reward mature decisions. Emotionally, this can be a heavy time, but not without light. The 6th house is about moving through struggle to find strength. With 2 benefics in this house, there's a silver lining to every challenge. You may emerge from this transit with clearer boundaries, stronger work ethic, renewed health, and a sharper sense of purpose. There may be pain in the process, but it will yield growth and grounding, which aligns with your core Capricorn nature. Overall, for Capricorn individuals, the Venus-Jupiter conjunction in the 6th house is a transformative time that brings career tests, financial recalibrations, relational challenges, and health revelations, all designed to push you closer to excellence and liberation. This is not a time for shortcuts, distractions, or indulgence, but for genuine effort, self-reflection, and conscious service. The rewards may come gradually, but they will be lasting. Trust the process, lean into your inner structure, and let your discipline pave the path forward. For Aquarius, the conjunction of Venus and Jupiter in the 5th house sets the stage for a vibrant yet deeply reflective phase in life. The 5th house, in Vedic astrology, governs creativity, children, romance, education, speculative gains, and personal intelligence. It is also the house of past life merit, making this conjunction particularly karmic and enriching when handled consciously. With Venus, ruler of your 4th and 9th houses, and Jupiter, ruler of your 2nd and 11th houses, joining forces here, this period acts like a magnet, pulling together themes of emotional nourishment, higher wisdom, financial potential, and personal joy into one concentrated domain. Venus, ruling both the 9th, luck, higher knowledge, dharma, and 4th, comfort, mother, home, houses, brings emotional grace, spiritual depth, and a nurturing influence to this house of creativity and love. Jupiter, being the lord of wealth, 2nd, and income, 11th, brings opportunities for gains through ideas, communication, education, and speculative ventures. The conjunction of these two benefic planets in the 5th house creates a powerful yoga for creativity, expression, spiritual alignment, and even wealth creation, especially when your ideas are shared with a sense of joy, purpose, and generosity. For students or those involved in any form of learning or teaching, this is a golden window. Intellectual clarity, creative inspiration, and blessings from mentors or teachers are highly likely. Venus here can bring a taste for art, literature, beauty, and emotional storytelling, while Jupiter bestows expansive thinking, optimism, and a philosophical outlook. Those pursuing higher education, especially in artistic, spiritual, or finance-related fields, will find progress and support during this transit. Entrance exams, research work, or any form of certification could bring fruitful results, particularly if effort is combined with faith and a larger sense of purpose. The 5th house also speaks strongly of romance and love life, and with both Venus and Jupiter here, emotions tend to run deep. This is a time when many Aquarius individuals could fall in love, or at the very least, reevaluate what love and companionship mean to them. There is potential for soulful, expansive relationships, especially those that inspire growth or have a karmic connection. Since Jupiter is a significator of Dharma and Venus of material pleasure, there may also be a subtle inner tug-of-war between emotional commitment and personal freedom. If you're already in a relationship, this conjunction may help deepen the emotional bond, possibly even bringing discussions about children or shared creative ventures. But be cautious not to idealize the other person too much. Clarity is needed to maintain realistic expectations. For those wanting to start a family, this is a favorable period. The 5th house rules progeny, and with two benefics influencing it, blessings related to children are strongly indicated. Couples planning conception may find success during this period, and those already with children may see their offspring excel in studies, arts, or life direction. There could also be some concern over the child's health, education, or emotional state if other transits or planetary aspects in the chart point to instability, so observation and timely nurturing are essential. When it comes to finances, this conjunction could usher in gains through speculative investments like the stock market, mutual funds, or crypto, especially because Jupiter rules the 11th house, incoming wealth, and Venus the 9th, luck. That said, speculative ventures must be approached wisely. Over-optimism could lead to poor decisions, so ground your enthusiasm in research. Creative projects could also become lucrative, especially those involving content creation, music, design, or public speaking. Jupiter here expands the value of your ideas, and Venus ensures they appeal to the masses. Monetizing knowledge and aesthetic talents is possible now. This is also a time to reconnect with your inner child. Aquarius individuals often live in their headspace, consumed with futuristic ideals and intellectual logic. But this Venus-Jupiter energy brings you back into your heart, asking you to explore joy, wonder, and self-expression without fear of judgment. Activities like dancing, painting, journaling, or even simply spending more time with nature or children can be healing now. If you've been disconnected from your passions, this transit can rekindle that spark, nudging you toward the things that once made you feel most alive. The transit gains more layers due to the retrograde of Saturn in Pisces, your 2nd house of values, wealth, and speech. Saturn retrograde here suggests that financial responsibilities, family obligations, or unresolved issues related to self-worth may be surfacing now. You might be reassessing how your earnings align with your values or reconsidering the foundations upon which your material life is built. Combined with the fifth house conjunction, this could lead you to ask deeper questions. Are you truly expressing your authentic self in your profession? Is your creativity being stifled by societal or financial pressures? This internal questioning is further intensified by Rahu's transit in your first house. Rahu brings focus, hunger, and sometimes confusion to the house it occupies. In your case, it adds a layer of restlessness to your identity. You may feel an urge to break free from old patterns, redefine who you are, and embrace a more unconventional path. When combined with Venus and Jupiter energizing your fifth house, there's a strong push to take focus, to show the world your unique essence, whether through your career, public voice, or creative talents. Ego expansion or overconfidence could be side effects. It's essential to stay grounded in truth and humility, particularly when opportunities arrive quickly. At an emotional level, this transit could awaken feelings of nostalgia, artistic longing, and a deep craving for beauty, recognition, or affection. You may become more sentimental than usual, especially about past love affairs, youthful dreams, or unfinished creative goals. This can be healing if you choose to revisit these memories with compassion and a desire to integrate rather than relive them. But beware of escapism or becoming overly romantic about what could have been. Venus and Jupiter together can sometimes blur emotional boundaries, so clarity and reflection are vital. Socially, the fifth house also governs popularity and public appreciation, so this could be a period of increased visibility. Your charm, wit, and artistic flair are likely to draw others toward you. This is an excellent time to launch a creative project, apply for recognition, or engage with an audience, especially if your goal is to inspire or uplift. Jupiter's presence ensures that your message carries wisdom, and Venus helps it resonate emotionally. Overall, for Aquarius individuals, the conjunction of Venus and Jupiter in the fifth house is a deeply enriching, multidimensional transit. It amplifies creative intelligence, opens doors to romance and emotional connection, and offers the potential for both spiritual and material gains. While Saturn's retrograde in the second house and Rahu's influence on your first house create a background of inner questioning and identity shifts, the overall effect is growth, provided you align your outer actions with inner authenticity. For Pisces, the conjunction of Venus and Jupiter in the fourth house marks a powerful, emotionally resonant phase centered around themes of home, inner security, emotional fulfillment, and foundational stability. This is a deeply sensitive and nurturing house, and when two benefics come together here, particularly Jupiter, your first house and 10th lord, and Venus, lord of the 3rd and 8th houses, it initiates significant transformations in your emotional core and domestic life. The fourth house, representing one's home environment, mother, real estate, comforts, and emotional base, becomes the spotlight of growth, blessings, and inner realignment during this period. Venus, which gains directional strength in the fourth house, thrives in this domain, bringing luxury, beauty, harmony, and aesthetic sensibilities into your living space and emotional world. This is a powerful placement for home improvements, buying or beautifying property, and creating a nurturing environment that soothes your spirit. Whether it's redecorating, moving into a more peaceful space, or simply finding more emotional security in your current surroundings, you're likely to feel more at peace within your personal domain. Since Venus also rules your 8th house, associated with transformation, shared resources, and secrets, this could also be a time when deep emotional healing is available, especially in relation to past family dynamics or psychological patterns. Jupiter, as your first house lord and 10th house ruler, brings a vital expansionary force to this area. Its presence in the 4th house urges you to prioritize inner grounding as a foundation for all outer success. The placement reminds you that no matter how high you climb in public or professional spheres, true peace and effectiveness begin at home, in your heart and your immediate surroundings. There may be karmic reasons why you're being pulled to pay attention to your roots right now. Issues related to your mother, your childhood home, ancestral lineage, or past emotional experiences may surface, not to trouble you, but to guide you toward growth, resolution, and inner security. Professionally, this conjunction has important implications. Jupiter's ownership of the 10th house and placement in the 4th links your career to your emotional well-being. You may be drawn to professions that allow you to work from home or bring emotional fulfillment. Those in real estate, interior design, counseling, hospitality, or fields related to women and beauty may especially thrive. If you're thinking about shifting your career towards something more meaningful or emotionally resonant, this conjunction can help guide the way. For others, this may be a time when you bring more balance into your work life, ensuring your career no longer drains your emotional reserves. This period also emphasizes comfort and material contentment. Venus's influence brings a desire for luxury, peace, and physical beauty in your immediate environment. You might invest in home appliances, furniture, or vehicles. Jupiter, on the other hand, may guide these purchases toward things that have long-term value or spiritual significance. While material comforts are amplified, you're also invited to reflect on what truly brings you emotional contentment, beyond possessions and aesthetics. Jupiter ensures that you're not merely decorating your life on the surface, but enriching it at the soul level. Because the fourth house governs the mother, your relationship with maternal figures may become especially important. There may be a deeper emotional exchange with your mother during this time, or you might take on a nurturing role toward her. Some Pisces individuals may experience healing in this relationship, whether through direct interaction, forgiveness, or gaining perspective on the past. Others may become more maternal themselves, particularly if they're entering parenthood, caretaking for others, or exploring the more nurturing aspects of their own identity. From a psychological perspective, this transit is about emotional maturity. Jupiter encourages you to look at the patterns that influence your sense of safety and stability. Venus supports emotional softness, vulnerability, and a desire to create peace around you. Since the 8th house, ruled by Venus, also represents subconscious processes and deep transformation, this conjunction may prompt emotional breakthroughs related to past trauma, hidden fears, or trust issues, especially in relation to home, family, or attachment. Journaling, therapy, or meditative practices can be highly beneficial during this time. Healing is possible, but it requires conscious engagement with your emotional landscape. Romantically, this conjunction brings the desire for emotional bonding and intimacy, particularly in more private or domestic settings. While it may not be the most publicly expressive phase for love, it's rich in emotional depth and private romantic moments. Relationships could reach new levels of trust and emotional connection. Because Venus is also the 8th lord, it's important to guard against becoming emotionally dependent or entangled in relationships that lack clear boundaries. Love during this time may be deeply transformative, either healing old wounds or triggering insecurities in order to grow beyond them. From a health perspective, the emotional balance you cultivate now has a direct effect on your physical well-being. The 4th house relates to the chest, heart, and lungs, and any unresolved emotional stress can manifest physically in these areas. Jupiter's expansive energy may sometimes lead to weight gain, while Venus can enhance cravings for indulgence. It's important to stay mindful of how emotional needs are influencing your lifestyle. This is a good time for gentle self-care, meditation, balanced routines, and time in nurturing spaces will be key. Saturn, your 11th and 12th house lord, is retrograding in Pisces, your first house. This internalizes Saturn's lessons and makes you more introspective about your long-term goals, spiritual path, and identity. The retrograde may temporarily restrict the external expression of growth but supports deep inner maturity. While Venus and Jupiter create ease and abundance in the 4th, Saturn in your first house grounds you and reminds you to not lose touch with your responsibilities and commitments. It's a balance between feeling emotionally nourished and staying spiritually disciplined. Venus and Jupiter in your 4th house call for a return to the heart, to what feels like home, to emotional truths, and to the spaces and people that hold you in safety. Whether you are moving to a new home, healing family dynamics, or simply learning to feel at peace with yourself, this transit promises internal abundance, grace, and growth. Don't underestimate the power of creating beauty in your environment or seeking peace within. Your public life will flourish as a direct result of this inner alignment. Overall, for Pisces individuals, the conjunction of Venus and Jupiter in the 4th house acts like an embrace, inviting you to nurture your emotional self, beautify your internal and external environment, and align your sense of home with your greater life purpose. With Saturn retrograde in your sign, there's an added layer of maturity and long-term focus being cultivated. By tending to your roots, you'll be setting the stage for outer success and inner harmony that lasts well beyond this transit. As we conclude this episode, please remember that these insights are based on Sidereal or Vedic Astrology, which accounts for the approximately 24-degree difference from the tropical zodiac. Individual predictions may vary, as every birth chart is unique. The influence of dasha periods and natal planetary placements can shape transits differently, both positively and negatively. It's essential to consider your own birth chart when applying these general predictions to your personal circumstances. If you'd like personalized predictions or have questions about your astrological chart, feel free to reach out to us. Stay tuned for more astrological updates. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with others, and subscribe to our channel for more insightful astrology content. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to sharing more astrological wisdom with you in the future. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep shining bright.